I believe in 2 to 3 years, the marketer's job will be very different than how we have been doing. And anybody who's resisting this force is not doing the right thing. You don't need to resist. You get replaced if you don't move fast, and if you're not because when you shift fast, you'll fail fast also. You'll fail often also, which is okay, right? Earlier you were taking 1 week, now you're finishing that in 2 days, so you can innovate 3 times. Two of them will not work, but maybe the third will work. Don't take yourself too seriously at the start, at least, because then you start being too careful, too watchful. When you start out, you should make some mistakes.
Let's start with your journey first, Vaibhav, right? Over the last like 2 decades almost now, so more
Yeah,
than that.
yeah, almost.
Tell us, how did all this started, and eventually what you guys are doing. So if you could just, let's start with that.
Yeah. So thanks, Sunil, first off for having me here. It's great. Look forward to some interesting conversation with you, and then anybody who watches this, maybe they could learn a thing or two from this. So yeah, almost 2 decades, and my journey. I mean, I call myself an accidental marketer. So the journey has been through sales into marketing across industries and verticals. I've sold things from selling bonds and debentures and stocks to selling credit cards, technology solutions, softwares, and even pizza at one point of time. So yeah, so it's been an interesting journey, full of accidents and accidental outcomes. I started working in a sales profile in a banking industry as to support city business at that point of time, and then it moved to entrepreneurship, and that's how my entire pivot happened from a sales profile to a marketing profile. I did my own business for a few years. Not so surprisingly, it did not take off beyond the initial investment period. So we moved from there, and then I started consulting for digital marketing agencies back in this is 2011 2012 period, when I was consulting with a lot of digital agencies across affiliate marketing, paid marketing, SEO. Most of the learning was by self, not through any school or college. And at that time, nobody used to teach digital marketing also. You had to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then yeah, for the last almost a decade, I've been working with NewFold, or the previous avatars of NewFold. We have gone through multiple M&As through the process. So yeah, NewFold, and currently I'm managing growth marketing for APAC brands and also supporting global acquisition strategy for NewFold.
Lovely. Before we move more towards
Yeah.
what you are doing right now, I was very curious about your journey. I would love to know more, especially this pivot from sales, doing something in finance and
Mhm.
marketing.
Yeah.
Also, some of your background in education will help us
Yeah.
why this pivot happened. As you said, accidental. And are there any learnings which you took forward from each of these experiences today to what you're doing?
Yeah. So how should I say this? And full of accidents. I maybe I'm overusing that term, but uh, I'm a science student, so my education has been science
Okay.
and philosophy.
Lovely.
So very unique and unrelatable, I would say, mix of things. My dad was a doctor, so I used to sit with him. So again, no sales background there, but he also had a business hustle on side, which was selling medicines or being involved in medicine sales. So I think that at a very childhood stage, I got interested in this. Nobody in my family or lineage has ever done sales as a profession or marketing as a profession. In fact, across the lineage, I'm the first marketer in across, across generations. So after doing sales, I think entrepreneurship happened first. And when you're an entrepreneur, you're starting your own business. Couple of my co-founders, they were from Indian School of Business.
What was this?
So we were creating a public discussion platform. At that time, it was Orkut, and then Twitter was building up.
Okay.
And so we were creating a public discussion platform. Today, you can equate it with what Threads is trying to do or Twitter is trying to do. So this is 2011 when we were trying to do that. We were trying to create a technology platform for people to have meaningful discussions, and it will be non-sponsored in every way.
Okay.
So you see news which is sponsored in some way. Social media also, the algorithm prefers something, you get lost in your own echo chamber. Our logic was that we'll create a public discussion platform, which was what you see happening on news portals, but now it has taken a very evil side.
I think Reddit is still better in that case today.
Reddit
Personally,
is better. Reddit is better.
yeah.
Let's see. I mean, Reddit hasn't grown in India too much. I don't know how
I think
Indians would.
companies are investing a lot on
Yeah,
Reddit
yeah,
today.
evolve. Yeah, so we'll come to Reddit when we
Yeah.
talk about. I mean, if we talk about SEO, we'll come to Reddit because I want to
Absolutely. Yeah.
talk a little about that. So yeah, so this entrepreneurship happened, and then we built that. And when you're an entrepreneur, I was saying, then you have to do everything yourself because you have limited money. You can't throw people at problems. So then I pivoted into understanding marketing, and then I thought that okay, that would be a natural evolution for me. Sales is not to sound too cliche, but it burns you out after some time. But I do love it. I believe everybody should sell in their life. Like in some countries, you have mandatory military duties, armed forces duties. Same way, everybody should do sales for 1 or 2 years in their lives
Understood.
because that develops that character.
Also, you're building yourself to do better marketing, I believe, once you start understanding the audience.
Anything you want to do, the moment you start understanding people, sales helps you understand people, because without knowing people you can't sell to them. And the moment you start understanding to anything you're doing, you can be a better doctor, you can be a better practitioner of any field, you can be a better marketer. So that's what happened, and then the one thing leads to other, so that's how it continued.
Lovely. So, talking about NewFold today, we would love to understand what are the problems you're solving, and also about your other sub brands under NewFold. Being such a large entity globally, what kind of problems you are solving? How has this evolution happened over the years?
So, Sunil, Newfold is the parent holding company, which is we are in the business of providing means and solutions for people to create their own digital presence.
Mhm.
And I know that digital presence can be perceived in multiple ways. So, anybody who's looking to get an identity for themselves, which normally starts with a domain name, and then presence for themselves, which is in the form of an email or a website.
Mhm.
And then you need multiple products like a backup or security, and then you need to grow. So identity, presence, and growth. So you need to grow, right? So you need SEO, paid marketing services, developing or creating a better website, e-commerce solutions. So across this spectrum of identity, presence, and growth, Newfold has brands in different regions. So different brands. We're a multi-brand company, and Newfold has brands which fulfill this need. We are one of the leading players in the market. So in India, we have this brand called Big Rock, which is very widely known. We have been on television and across different media types for more than a decade, more than 1.5 decade actually. And then in Australia market, there is brand called Crazy Domains. In Southeast Asia, we have Vodian. In North America, we have brands like Network Solutions.
Mhm.
So these are the brands which we operate with. So you would know, maybe a lot of people would not know the name of the parent company, which is Newfold, but these brands are very widely popular and known amongst the masses.
Understood. Any specific reason why uh, NewFold had to create these many brands across?
So our strategy from the start has been multi-brand operations,
Okay.
and because and I mean there is always a debate on whether you want to keep a singular brand or multi-brand operations.
Mhm.
So we can get into that if needed, but I would just explain why we operate like that. So we operate as multi-brand operations or multi-brand presence because then you can cover or cater to the audience across the spectrum. So somebody who's a novice audience versus somebody who's an enterprise audience,
Okay.
your brands will fulfill the needs across the spectrum of audiences in their unique ways.
Okay.
And sometimes it's difficult for one brand to create its identity or resonance or awareness also if you're trying to do everything. So there's a very popular saying in startup ecosystem: if you're trying to do everything, then you're not doing anything. So a brand should not try to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So same way Unilever operates, right? I mean, Unilever is nobody
Yeah.
knows it, but the
Correct.
products, you're known by your brands or products. So we try to fulfill this need for every audience cohort in unique way, and the brands are known for that. So if there is a WordPress need, there is a brand for that. If domain is the entry level product
Yeah.
people are looking for, there's a brand which will fulfill that. And if there is a high end website hosting or infrastructure, then there is a brand which fulfills
Understood.
that.
So let's say if there are two type of niche audiences, one is let's say a very small SME or a Kirana kind of a store. He wants to build uh, their own brand. And then there is an enterprise level who wants to create a sub brand. If I want to start my new journey with, let's say, NewFold or Crazy Domains or other brands, how do I go about it today?
So the institution of an idea, it starts with, I would say, always a domain name. So
Yeah.
the moment you get an idea, and when that seed is sown, so before you sow the seed, uh, I believe every idea should have a domain name.
Can you explain a little more? What is
Yes,
domain?
yes, yes, yes. So domain is your identity. So we are sitting in this office.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this office would have an address, and that address would have a building to it, right? So that address is the domain name. How people would find you. So like your mobile phone, you use your mobile phone to talk to people, but then that mobile phone has a mobile number which people use to know that, okay, your number differs from the other person. So domain name is that identity.
Mhm.
Most common domain name, let's say example of Google. Google is also a domain name. So somebody, when Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they had this idea that, okay, we'll create a search engine from their college dorm room. The first thing they did is they will reserve a domain name. So when you have when that idea is starting or hasn't taken birth in shape and form, but it's just an idea, I think the first thing you need to keep a domain name. Okay. And and that's why Crazy Domains you mentioned. So Crazy Domains has this line that every idea starts with a domain name. So you
It's
take
like a
that idea.
house.
Huh?
It's like your own house where you
It's
start.
like you know, but when you build that house, so that is your address. But when
Correct.
you build a house over that land, that becomes your website. So your website is that house, but that address is your domain name.
Yeah.
So that's a very, I believe, a very relatable way for people to understand. So yeah, so we do that, and then once you build a house over it, it becomes a website, which is your web presence. So you were asking that how does anybody start? So I think when the idea gets instituted, you start with a domain name, and then you see what you want to do. I see a lot of big businesses. And we are talking too much about products, so I don't want to make it sound very centric to what we do. But I believe getting your domain to work as your email address is also very important, because then you're communicating to people, whosoever you're communicating to, whatever you're talking to them about, you're telling them that yes, this is my identity. So you're communicating your identity, and then someday when you decide to translate that, then that domain is realized into something which you want to do, whether
Okay.
it's a blog, whether you want to just display or advertise what you're doing, a passive source of information. And then if you want people to come and transact, then it evolves from there.
I believe in our understanding, and when we work with our customers, the seriousness of buying a domain and also researching what kind of domain from .com to .us to .au to something else, how important it is today. Do you have any thoughts, or we should just buy whatever we get? Uh, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so I'm like a parent wherein you're asking the favorite child.
Yeah.
Right now, it's tough. I believe you don't discriminate. com is the most popular domain name. .com is the most popular domain name, so that's people's first choice. And I believe more often than not, somebody else has reserved. When I started my company, I wanted to buy Hangout.com,
Okay.
but surprisingly, not so surprisingly, or
There are
surprisingly,
businesses who are just buying it and reserving and then
reserving it. Google had booked that domain name. So Hangout.com was booked by Google, and we were thinking, okay, I think it was booked by Google or somebody at Google. But yeah, so
they had a product Hangout, right?
yeah, they had a product. I think what currently is Meet was at one point
Correct.
of time Hangout.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
and then they have evolved it. So yeah, don't discriminate. Get a domain name, get an identity.
But is there a
If
reason
you
why
get
you
a
should buy a dot, let's say AU or dot
So,
US?
yes, that is a very important question. I mean, if you want to have a region specific identity, then for India, it will be .in. For Australia, it will be .com.au or .au. For Singapore, it would be .sg. So it is important if you want to convey that, okay, you are a region specific business and you have a regional identity, it is very important
Okay.
that you have that at least. But most of us, especially in India, .com is our first preference. But even if you don't get .com, don't lose sweat over it. You can go with other TLDs, but have your identity. And there are more than number of TLDs are more than what you can think of. So you would always get something. Don't compromise on the name, but it can be any TLD which you.
Understood. Got it. Tell us more about Vaibhav, your like more on the work side. I would love to know
Yes.
the type of teams you manage, in your journey today, um, at a global footprint. How are you, have different forms of communication at different geographies, and how do you go about it day in, day out?
Yeah, so Sunil, as I said, right, my responsibilities are across APAC brands and then supporting the global brand, which is Network Solutions. So I have, so first of all, about responsibility. So I manage growth marketing or acquisition, which I like to call it. So, which is managing all these paid media channels across Google ecosystem, Meta, and then SEO, affiliate marketing, some bit of content SEO. My team is distributed across India, Singapore, and there are a couple of folks in Philippines. And then there is a larger team in US who I work very closely with.
Okay.
So I operate in distributed teams across different time zones, and it's been a fun ride. Uh,
But what are the challenges like somebody who's in Philippines to US to other Indian regions? How do you make sure that everything is aligned and things are on top, right?
So a lot of technology service providers are trying to solve this problem, like Zoom and Teams. So they're trying to solve this problem. So I mean, communication network or communication channel is no more a problem. Working with people across time zones, keeping in mind, like my boss always asks me, is this the right time for you? Because I know it would be very late.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's her day, it would be late hours for me. So she always asks. And so managing cultural nuances also is a very big part of managing distributed teams,
Yeah.
because people in India would think differently than people in Singapore, and then somebody in Philippines or the US. So as a leader or as a people manager, I would say it is very important for you to understand those cultural nuances, and that not you can't deliver or also delegate to people in the same way, because these are people across geographies, and when you're talking to one person, their way of thinking would be different than the other person. So, and you only learn it when you do it. Like, there is no playbook which you can just find from somewhere and learn it. And I think having a people first mindset is important, because then you don't believe in the task first mindset, but the people first mindset. So you go to people, understand them, and then try to work. Like I said, right, my boss, the first question whenever there is any meeting scheduled, she asks me, is this the right time for you? So that's a
Yeah.
good place to start, which shows care.
Yeah, even how are you help. So very good.
Yes.
Great. Vaibhav, tell us more, since we're talking about teams at a regional level and global different regions. How are you ensuring teams are on top of things as well as you're building a great culture? If you can just,
Yeah, yeah. So as I was telling Sunil, my teams are distributed across regions. So the large part of the team is in India. Then I also have presence in Singapore and Philippines, because, as I said, our brands are distributed regionally. So you need some on-ground presence, feet on the street, and across verticals. So for marketing teams also, we have marketing teams presence there. And then I work very closely with our counterparts in US, which is the larger, where the larger marketing team is. So in order to be efficient at operating these cross regional teams, you have to have a people first mindset, which goes, and you need to operate with care. So starting from the grassroots level, which is at the manager level or the frontline level, to the leaders, everybody has to demonstrate care in multiple ways. And me being leader of a function, I also have to be very careful about how I'm dealing, because the cultural nuances of people in each region would be different. I mean, the cultural nuances of the region would also be different, but also how you manage with. So, whenever, like, my boss is in US, right, my manager, and whenever she's scheduling a call with me, or we are about to set up a meeting, the first question I get asked is, okay, is it the right time for you? Because
yeah,
they realize, now that is a very simple thing, but it starts with, first of all, establishing that they care, or
yeah,
the person cares, and then that develops a lot of confidence that, okay, I can say no also.
yeah,
So if needed, I have the opportunity to say, oh no, this is too late, can we do it maybe a little early hours, or sometime maybe early hours for you? So that level of confidence, within team, and when you're managing cross-regional teams, you cannot be 24/7 available for everyone. But when you have established, when you operate with care and you have established a camaraderie with the team, then you don't have to manage people. So how I manage cross-regional teams is by not managing people. My job is to manage business, manage processes, manage outcomes, not to manage people. And for that, it is very important for them to believe in you as much as you want to believe in them.
yeah,
And so it's a quid pro quo. It's both ways. So I believe for anybody who is going out and who has cross-functional teams, cross-regional teams operating in different time zones, languages, and countries, you need to establish that, okay, you care for them, and you're not out here to manage them. You're here to manage outcomes and processes. Wherever things get blocked, you'll be the solution provider, and yeah, and that works. That works.
And there's a saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Uh, Culturally at NewFold, are there any areas like you guys are doing differently internally, or any initiatives?
Yeah, so this is, I remember this when you said these lines. My ex boss, or maybe couple of turns over, my previous boss, he had this written as a moniker somewhere in his room. So yeah, so culture does eat strategy for breakfast. So we call ourselves at Newfold, we call ourselves a culture first organization, and I mean, we call ourselves the world's biggest startup. And startup here means, that is on a lighter note.
Yeah,
This is not an official statement, but the reason is because we still live that value of giving people liberty of doing things which they believe they should do, which can create outcomes. We are a process driven organization, but that process does not become limiting or inhibiting in any way. And from the level of the frontliners to the CEO. I think everybody tries to establish, like we put a lot of emphasis in hiring and hiring people who are culture fit. So more than subject matter fit, I think it is important that you hire culturally fit people, because you can train people on skills, but you can't train them on attitude. So getting somebody who's right, who will bring in maybe value add to the organization and not drag you down, is very important. And our HR policies are also very supportive of that. So and all of this boils down to care and trust. Like if I'm talking to my HR team and I need something, we always start that with the basis of trust. Okay, you need this, which means okay, it is important. I don't have to prove that point. Whether it is feasible, and I can name 10 policies, but maybe for later.
Yeah.
But it is very important to understand that okay, you don't have to prove the worth of what you want. You just have to find the feasibility of it, and that's how a lot of policies and processes around the organization are built.
Since we are talking about hiring, in between you said the way
Yes.
you look at, I would love to know your strategy on hiring processes. My conversations with different leaders, everyone looks at it differently. But at the same time, I've seen some common ground of similarity.
Okay.
I would love to know your thoughts on it when you're hiring. What are the traits? Some of them you already mentioned, but let's focus there a little more. What are the pros and cons as well? I think hiring a wrong person is really painful and stressful for managers at the same time.
Always.
What are your experience? Tell us more.
So I'll start with the last line first, that if you are a hiring manager or in a hiring position, you'll at one point on your career, you will hire a wrong person, or you would make a wrong hire.
Yeah.
And by wrong hire, I don't mean that that person is wrong. For that position at that time, they are not the right fit. So you'll do that. You would have done that. I have done that. I mean, I can say it very clearly that yes, everybody has been there, and you would end up making wrong hires. But you should know that that is not the first or the last hire you're making. So it's okay. I mean, things get solved over time. So while we filter out through multiple process, but few things which I believe, and the way people operate these days, is changing, and as marketing leaders or business leaders, our way of approaching the problem also.
So this brings to my next question, especially as we are talking culture, building teams. Most interesting part is hiring.
Yeah.
And over the years, my conversations with different leaders, they have different strategy adoption of how they hire. But at the same time, there have been some common ground, the way everyone looks at the process. Before I share my thoughts there, I would love to know
Yeah.
how are you doing it, how are you hiring, and
No,
what are the pros and cons, as well as if you hire a wrong person, it's very stressful and painful. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. So I would love to know your thoughts also, because see, you're also building a team, which I did around what 12, 13 years ago. So
Yeah.
by building a team, I'm building a team for your own venture. So I would love to know your thoughts. But I'll start with the last part first, which is making a wrong hire. So anybody who's watching this, they should know that they will make a wrong hire
तो होने वाला. Yeah.
multiple times in their lives. If you are in a hiring position, whether you're a decision maker or one of the stakeholders in the decision, you will make wrong choice. You will hire people, and by wrong hire, I don't mean that people are wrong. I mean, for that position, that time, that role, they were not the right fit. So you will end up making, and things get solved ultimately in the end, which is one thing we should talk about more in life, which is things get solved in the end. But okay, at that point of time, it might seem like, okay, what did I do? So you'll make wrong hire, which is okay. But a few things. One is, and this is maybe at a very senior level, this principle does not hold true. But it is important to understand that you have to hire people with the right attitude. You can train them on skills.
Mm.
And I belong to the marketing which we do, or which is now which has now become the norm of marketing, which is digital first marketing.
Mm.
It's a very subject matter expertise type of play.
Mm.
It's a very, I mean, you have to be technically sound, whether you're managing an ad platform or whether you're managing on the like advertiser side or publisher side. So it is very important to understand that you have to hire people, even if you're hiring for SME roles, they have to be they have to be attitude first, and then train them on skills like learning an ad platform or learning an ad technology, or the nuances of managing a publisher ecosystem is not that difficult.
Yeah.
But they need to have the right attitude. The second thing is that people need to believe in your vision as much as you believe in them.
Yeah.
So this is an inverse analogy or inverse hypothesis, wherein you have to show your belief in people first, that okay, it's okay, uh, this is what we are trying to do, this is our common vision, but I trust you. So you need to understand that when you're getting people on board, and sharing a common vision is most important value, right? It's the most important factor for any team to succeed. So it's very important for people to know that it is them before you. So you have
Yeah.
to tell them that, okay, I know this is my vision, but you have to tell them that, okay, yes, I believe in you first, and then let's arrive at a common vision or common goal. So I think two things: if they have the right attitude
Mhm.
and they believe in the vision, these two things you should, it is very tough to judge. Judging the subject matter expertise or the technical acumen is very easy. These judging these two things is tough, but I think we should do first. And the last point wherein I lay a lot of emphasis is letting people show how much they are keen, their keenness
Mm.
in the role or the position they are applying for. So
Understood.
like every day I get around 5 to 10 LinkedIn messages for
Roles.
one of the roles which are open on NewFold every day. But once a month, there will be somebody who will start with my first name,
Mm.
will mention the position, and then start with first telling me about the position, then talking about themselves. Which means they have done some homework.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the role. I see that you're hiring for an SEM role, wherein the person will be looking for brands like Big Rock, which is selling website hosting and domain names in India. And I have done this. So if they're, which means that they did a 15-minute homework.
Yeah.
And then it's very easy to do that.
Correct.
But if they've done that 15 minutes, that shows their keenness and commitment to the position they're applying for. Otherwise, it becomes
I
tough.
think I keep giving this advice to people who are giving interviews,
Yeah.
and it's very basic fundamentals. So applying is one part. I think the major impact happens once you're done with an interview.
Yeah.
The people are not even sending a message, okay, it was great speaking with you.
Yeah.
Just
It's very important
just
to
a
do
message
that.
on email or a LinkedIn
Uh,
adds so much value that at the end you're differentiating yourself to other audiences.
yeah.
Okay, that the person will now remember me. Okay. You can reach out for a hiring role through a video or all of that. That's also very creative. I see a lot of people doing it. But just respecting, okay, it was great speaking with you, or
Acknowledge that.
even just being 3 minutes earlier for the interview.
These are very basics. Like uh, I have like recently I was interviewing someone, and it is not very hard. Like it took me 30 seconds to explain the difference between NewFold and, let's say, Crazy Domains or Big Rock, which is parent holding company versus brands. So if you go to our website, let's say you spend 30 minutes, you will understand that. And I was interviewing somebody yesterday, and they were saying, okay, NewFold is same as Big Rock. So then you know that they don't understand, or they did not put effort in understanding.
Right.
So now you can debate that, okay, they are not part of the business, so why do you expect them to? I need people to show that level of keenness.
Hmm.
This is just an expression of interest. So show that you're keen,
Correct.
and then you'll get a lot of you get a lot of mind share from the person who's interviewing you.
So in terms of our hiring,
Hmm.
as you also asked me,
Yes.
I have more of a story to tell. Like When I remember speaking with a candidate, great fit in terms of the tech understanding and knowledge, especially from a marketing background, did really well, qualified all of the things we were looking for. But at the end, since we are a hybrid model, that person wanted to have less number of days in office, right? That is where things didn't go well. Uh, but these are the small, gaps which comes in later,
Yes,
where the person is saying, okay, this is not something I'm okay with. Uh, that's one. I also believe when you're speaking with your candidates, right? A lot of time in the first few minutes, you can understand ki, okay, I really like this person overall as a person.
yeah,
Okay. So I feel it's more of a likability factor where you say, okay, I can work with this person.
it's very important.
Yeah, I don't know where do you put this term, but somewhere you might have this just okay, I really can work with this person. I can have a positive vibe.
Yeah, he's
Building
a
up.
good fit to the team.
Yes,
He'll add value to the
correct.
team.
And I'll do technical analysis now. Things have become so linear where you can do a tech analysis and do assignments and all of that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
will happen. But then today, leader's role is actually more of a cultural fit or knowing, okay, how will this person be from a relationship
It is the
standpoint?
most important. I would not say this is often ignored because now everybody is paying emphasis because you need somebody to add value to the team, and there are organizations which are putting more emphasis than the technical expertise bit of it.
Hmm.
Uh, so and as I said, right, these things like the example you demonstrated, like the attitude is this: you can join the company, you can later cite your personal reasons, we can figure out a
Yeah.
hybrid or work from home or work from office. But if that's a deal breaker for you, do I want my team member to be adaptable or not? That
Exactly.
is the representation of attitude. That represents, or that is a litmus of attitude. So then the attitude is not fitting in well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, on top of this, like, have you seen any particular trait of high performers?
I think it is like not just for, like we were talking about hiring managers. This is for people who are across this cohort of positions, starting from entry level. I think high performance is an outcome. Okay, but one value which people can demonstrate is how are they dealing with things in their personal lives. By personal life, I don't mean their actual personal life, but in their other non-work life, how are they, what are they doing? Are they learning a lot? In their non-personal life, they could be learning anything. I don't want people to learn about ad tech or let's say AI generated prompts, but are they learning or not in their lives? Like one thing I recently read, and I found it very interesting. I haven't started implementing it. Is that how are people building their equity on their social media platforms?
Oh,
It could be
interesting.
controversial, okay? It could be controversial, but which is that do you have followers? How actively you are engaging with them?
Wow.
Then let's say somebody you're hiring for a position which has engaging with audience, understanding audience, then do you understand your personal life audience or not? Do you have, if even if you have 100 followers, are you posting content? Are you engaging with them? Are you responding to comments? So this is representation of people. So I believe you understanding high performance is or finding why are people performing well or better than the others is always an outcome when you hire them. But I think when you get to see these traits on how they are behaving, are they learning a lot? If you're hiring for a position wherein a lot of engagement is needed, are they engaging with people in their personal lives? Because their work life will not be very different. You're not Peter Parker and you'll not put a Spider-Man suit. So if they're behaving that way in their personal lives, those values will kind of percolate or translate in their work life.
And have anything changed over the years, like 2, 3 decades now, for younger generation?
We are dealing with an entirely new generation. So a lot of controversy has come around work hours and
Work-life balance.
work life balance, mental health. I will. I'll
Was
say
was
the.
there a term mental health 30 years back? But
No, no, no. Had I told my dad, he would have said okay. And my dad was like a medical professional. He would have said okay, but what's the problem? So he would have acknowledged it, but
yeah.
then he would ask me, okay, you're not feeling good, okay, but what's the problem?
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's interesting. It's a different, I would say, different time and different generation we are dealing with, and in my experience, I have had zero challenges with what people cite on social, which is quote unquote Gen Z and how they are behaving or how
Yeah.
they don't take their work seriously. I have faced zero problems. I believe the moment you tell people that okay, you feel that they would be able to do it, you validate people. So the moment people feel validated, they would want to, because the values are still the same. Everybody wants to grow,
Mm.
everybody wants to make a mark for themselves, and everybody is using some external locus point to compare themselves against.
Yeah.
These are human tendencies which haven't changed much.
Yeah.
You can say that today when we go out to hire, people don't give that much importance to, and I'll quote a very personal example, that much importance to commercial aspect of the position than the other aspects of the, which is more behavioral aspects of the, of what the company brings to them. Like I was talking to this my team member in Singapore, and she gave me a very interesting insight. You know, it's evening and we say okay, the work is done, we hosted a brilliant event, and I tell her okay, so should we take the team out? And she was like, no, you know, we don't prefer to go out during weekdays, sometimes even weekends.
Yeah.
I said, why? Like, I mean, because there's no plan. No, it's not about the plan. I think, you know, health wise also, people don't prefer that.
Oh.
So that was a very interesting insight,
Okay.
because she's telling me, and that's how, you know, if you're open to learning, that's how you'll learn. So she's telling me that no, people don't prefer to go out in the evening, even weekends,
Yeah.
because you know maybe drinking out,
Yeah.
you know, is not that much healthy. So we prefer our physical health, mental health over this. And by not going out does not mean that okay, you're from a different circle, so we don't want to mingle. As a principle, we don't want to do it.
Mm.
So I think that's okay. Versus if you go to 70s when you know, people used to keep a bottle of Coke and
Yeah.
JD, and every conversation used to happen after that. So things have changed. So these values have changed, but the basic inherent nature of human being, which I said initially, that hasn't changed. You have to keep that in mind and drive people that way.
Mm. Also, I think the younger generation wants a clarity on what is there for me, comparatively, because the options are also more.
100%. And they have different motivators.
Yeah.
You can't use the same motivation. You work hard and then you'll get a reward.
Yeah.
That motivational speech or that motivational outcome has to change.
Yeah. So previously, like financial goals were pretty much one of the priority.
One of the
Today,
priority.
it's like more of a, if it's coming from a good background, that person wants more
Yeah.
things. Okay, what is there for me? How do I see your organization in next 2, 3, 5 years? Things
And
like that.
and Sunil, I myself behaved in that way. So for the first part of my career, I lived in Delhi, worked in Delhi. When I moved to Mumbai, I saw that people change jobs because location, the place of work, the location of that place of work is very important. I
Hmm.
was like, dude, like, because in Delhi, the traffic problem at that time was not as big as Mumbai traffic
Okay.
problem. So here people put a lot of emphasis that, okay, if I live in Andheri, I'd want a job somewhere in suburb.
Hmm.
If I live in Navi Mumbai, I would want a job somewhere around the Navi Mumbai Turbhe type of area.
Hmm.
If you live in South Bombay, you'd want a job there.
Yeah.
And there are like, okay, why are people changing jobs because of location? But it's a very important factor. Now translate that in today's younger generation. They are placing different values over the traditional values of what I used to consider. I don't know if I should say you used to
Yeah.
consider, but I used to consider. So we have to adapt.
Hmm. Interesting. So, tell us more. Coming back on the subject knowledge for, let's talk about marketing since
Yes.
our pool of audiences from similar background. What's your thought on what's happening currently in the marketing space? any interesting insights, as well as how much is the impact of AI? What
Yeah,
is
yeah.
your implementation across in your workforce uh, from a marketing perspective?
Yeah, I would also want to understand what uh, Pixelo is trying to do, Pixelo
Sure.
Digital is trying to do on the AI space. But uh, so I believe, and I keep telling this to my team, in 2 to 3 years,
Mhm.
and I think a lot has been said, so I'm not the first one to say that, is the marketer's job will be very different than how we have been doing it. And anybody who's resisting this force is not doing the right thing. You don't need to resist. You can't say that, okay, I will run my ads in a manual bidding format. No,
Okay.
you can't. You shouldn't. Even if today you can, in 2 years, 2 to 3 years, you won't be able to run it, because the evolution is happening, and this evolution will take just 5 years,
Mhm.
from 2022 to 2027. After these 5 years, the world would have changed. So in the world of AI, the way marketing is being done, that is evolving. We are relying more on automation of platforms. That is changing. The way asset generation or any communication, the comms piece of it, that is also changing, because you have a lot of information available very easily. And the third and the most important thing is that the speed of execution is also changing. So while an ad film used to take, I remember we were running this for one of our big brands,
Mhm.
and it took 40 days to create an ad film. Today, I think even a movie gets created in less than
Yeah.
40 days. So the speed of execution is changing. The automation is changing how the technology enablement of marketing is happening. And then the content is becoming very easily accessible, and the volume of that content. So fatigue will start setting in. So you have to keep changing things fast. We can talk about different channels of execution also if needed.
Yeah.
But broadly, I see in 5 years, anybody who evolves along with, like, one interesting experiment I'll quote here, is what we have started to do this is MVP validation.
Okay.
So what is MVP validation is, me and my team, we go to any of the vibe coding platforms,
Mhm.
and I don't want to name some, but if anybody needs it, you can just put a comment, and I can share those platforms. So you use any of the vibe coding platforms, and then let's say if there is an idea that you want to generate content programmatically,
Okay.
or you want to assist people in discovering suggestions for purchasing a domain name. I'm talking about my industry use cases. We very quickly create, in a span of 2 to 3 days, we create a minimum viable product.
Lovely.
Now that's a proof point.
Wow.
Now that product as is, especially for an organization of our scale, we can't go ahead and go live with it, but that's a proof point. Now you take that, and in the same focus group type of approach, we go ahead and validate that hypothesis, that MVP, with 10, 15, 20 prospect audiences. And the moment you have a very strong use case, first, you have a validated hypothesis, number two, and third, you also have a proof point. You have an actual working product which you can show to your engineering teams, and then they can develop it. So the work we are doing, let's say somebody is doing online reputation management. If you have some good hypothesis, you can go ahead and create that solution. And it's for non-techies, even if you know zero coding, you can do that. So we do this MVP validation,
Mhm.
and we are very close to going live with 3 new go-to-market approaches as a result of this. But yeah,
At Pixelo, so our focus is more as we hire a lot of our usual average age is still 27 types, and
okay.
still they're, I would say they're still very young. Uh, Learning and development is something we really, from the day one, we create their programs. Along with that, the managers have weekly What's New program.
What program?
What's new.
Okay,
So
okay,
basically,
interesting.
yeah, so there would be one member who will come and present what is new happening in their domain. Okay. Usually today it's AI related stuff,
Uh-huh.
from being tools, technology to any new campaign ideas. Uh, that's working really well for us. That also gives a signal to each team member that we have to keep thinking across and being
Yeah.
curious, right?
Yeah.
And from there, the learning skills can actually develop further. We are a Clay official partner, so Clay is a platform which helps you with hyper personalization, helps you with your go to market strategy. It's a very exciting technology from US, currently I think a unicorn now.
Yeah.
So so these kind of technology helps us to be on top of our game, right, from a marketing standpoint. And we are trying to offer that value to our customers at the end, because
Yes.
that differentiator has to come in. Because if we are not on top of our game, especially on AI and other stuff, it becomes very difficult to solve problems today. The whole marketing game, and especially from a business standpoint, it's very competitive. Okay, so how do you become different, or differentiate across, is very important from a USP
Yes. Yeah.
perspective. So yeah, I think it's just changing the mindset, and especially the newcomers. How do you tell them to think different?
Mm.
That is the first go, and from there,
That
it's a
that's a
process.
that's a very beautiful point, because now you would spend less, like as I said, speed of execution has become very short.
Hmm.
So you'd spend less time doing the same thing.
Correct.
Like I remember the time when I used to write ad copies for search, and we used to spend like multiple hours just thinking about the right ad copy. If you provide a landing page, now the platform itself can create copies, which you can use another platform on top of that to
Correct.
refine it further. So I believe this habit of thinking, you asked that question about younger generation. I believe this habit of thinking also is a very important thing which people should value,
Hmm.
because now doing is getting easier.
Hmm.
So your value add or your differentiator is to think.
Yeah, and on top of this, on the same thread, I think today, like, for people to make or come up with a reason that they're not able to do something because they don't know,
Uh,
has diminished.
has diminished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today you can't just give a reason,
No,
ki,
no.
I'm not able to,
So you can't, because then there is no knowledge, there is no
correct.
learning, and you can very easily learn and then figure out how to do it.
Yeah. And the things which you mentioned were done at X hours today has reduced by more than
Yeah.
50%.
Yes. Yes.
So you are expected to do more faster, more agile, because there is somebody waiting at the door who might just deliver that.
Yes, and for any business, and this is not just for a agency business or a brand business, but for any business across sizes, it's as important. You will get replaced if you don't move fast, and if you're not ship, because when you ship fast, you'll fail fast also.
Mhm.
You'll fail often also, which is okay, right? Earlier you were taking 1 week, now you're finishing that in 2 days, so
Correct.
you can do innovate 3 times. Two of them will not work, but maybe the third will work.
Hmm.
So that's very. I'm telling you that in the team I have marketers who have an experience of 3 to 4 years, and they are creating AI solutions, AI toolkits, AI agents,
That's very interesting.
purely non-technical people. But they are leveraging the platforms in creating these, and that becomes the MVP.
Hmm. Interesting. Um, you spoke about uh, on the on being redundant, or let's talk about
Mm.
AI on the other side. Do you see an impact on especially certain age group of layoffs, or is it just because you don't have that skill today, that's the reason you might get laid off? Or is it for a certain age group who are leaders are also threatened with technology today? Do you think that?
Yeah. So I was at one of the conventions, I think 3 years back, and then somebody asked this question. So there was this chief executive at Huawei. Somebody was asked. Somebody asked them this question that, okay, do you think, with the advancement of technology, people will become redundant? So they gave a beautiful answer, which I very clearly remember, that for every one job which automation, at that time AI was not that big, but let's say any technology enablement, for every one job it takes away, it creates 9 more jobs.
Oh,
Okay. I don't know whether this statistics is validated, but metaphorically,
Okay.
I believe if technology enablement will kill one job, it will create other jobs. So AI would only make you redundant if you're not fit to operate in the new reality of the market. But otherwise, I don't think. I think right now you need more people, and not because the same work is taking less time, but now you can innovate fast, right? So you have to keep up the pace. You need people to do the work as per the new realities. There is a little bit of hostility from people who are not evolving as rapidly, but I think that's a self correction mechanism. Me and you, we can't fix it, but the people who don't evolve, it will get fixed automatically. But would the need of human intervention, would the need of humans become less important or needed? I don't think so. I think it will become more, but in different ways. So I keep telling my team that AI was never brought in to write content for you. AI, like there is a big debate on SEO. Should the SEO content be AI generated or human written? And for all the right reasons. So I was coaching my team and I told them that AI was never brought in to write content for you. AI was brought in to write frameworks, guidance, give you thoughts and proposals around what to be written, and then a human being should write it. So if you're using AI to write content, I don't think that's the right use case. That's not how it was invented for. But AI would provide you everything, the market research, which used to take a week. Now you can do it in half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. But don't use it to write the content. Write the content yourself. Make it authentic, your voice. It's your voice which people want to read.
Today, you open LinkedIn, you see everywhere
Yeah,
AI content.
too much of it.
Too
Too much of it. But I mean, if you have a fine eye, then you can
know.
very easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can differentiate.
Yeah.
Great. Probably we are probably on the last segment.
Okay.
Vaibhav.
Okay.
So, and we would love to know about you. Specifically at this role, how are you taking care, and what are your hobbies and passion? Um, I think you had few things on the philosophy side of things.
Yeah, a little, a little.
Love to know your experience there.
Gets a little embarrassing to talk about myself, but
Please tell us. Yeah.
so as I said, so I was always interested in philosophy. The one book which changed my, not changed, but helped me shape my thinking very early in my life was The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and a lot of people. It's a very popular book. So I read Ayn Rand very early in my life.
What is it about, if you can tell?
So it is a fiction book. Okay, Ayn Rand developed this philosophy of objectivism or objectivist reality, but it's a fiction book. It's a good read. If you don't want to read Aristotle or Plato or Socrates, it's fine. Read Ayn Rand. Okay, it's a very good book. So it's a fiction book. It is about a person and his fight against the world for his principles. And when you start out in life, you need naivete. You need the belief that, okay, you're born to change the world. Later on, whether that happens or not is a different point. But so I started. So yes, I'm educated in philosophy. Philosophy makes you more pragmatic. Okay, because you read, you know that what is the reality behind every truth.
And you question also things that will matter.
Sorry,
Do you also question things then?
you question everything.
Okay.
So I remember, have you watched Mad Men? Yeah, so Don Draper makes this famous line, right? That what you call love was invented by people like me to sell nylons. So philosophy makes you do that. So you need to know, okay, so when my mom comes and tells me, okay, Diwali is on this date, and I tell her, how do you know? And she tells me, well, I checked it on Google. So then I made the same statement to her. I told her, Mom, I mean, what you are calling as the date of Diwali was created by people like me through SEO, right? We tell Google what to rank.
Yeah.
And if Google is intelligent enough, it will listen to you instead of me, but it will listen to one of us.
Correct.
So Google does not know when is Diwali. People like me are telling Google, okay, when is Diwali? So that's how the entire indexation is happening.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, that's a new reality for her. So yeah, so I believe philosophy makes you very pragmatic,
Mhm.
very self aware, and also it makes you question everything.
Mhm.
So you would not become too happy, you would not become too sad, you will not celebrate too much at your successes, you will not get disappointed too much at your failures. So, and that's important to be at, as you grow in your position, you need to be more consistent in your outlook and outreach. So that's how philosophy or studying philosophy has helped me. But yeah, going back to books, Ayn Rand's Fountainhead was the I read few books before that, but that was the one defining moment. And then I read a lot of fiction. Um, Past few years, it's been more about business books and understanding
In a year,
about
how many
people.
books you cover?
I read a lot.
Oh,
Let's keep
lovely.
it at that. Yeah. And there are books which I like a lot. I read them very slow. So I read like 2 pages and then I keep them because I don't want to finish them. So like this book, Sapiens by Harare.
Okay.
I love that book so much that I read it, and then there are 2 more editions. So I'm reading like 2, 3 pages a day. I don't want to finish them. I want it to
Is it
last.
usually your travel time or is it?
Yeah, you have to make a regime. You have to make a regime of reading. And reading is often misunderstood, Sunil.
Mm.
People think that you have to open a book, either Kindle or physical book, and read it. I believe reading comes from consumption of information. So if you're consuming knowledge in any form, like for younger generation,
Mhm.
I'm also young, by the way, so I'm saying younger.
Yeah.
So younger generation, even if you're consuming information through Instagram or Twitter, it is important. And you just have to be watchful of the kind of information you're consuming. But consumption of information is what is needed here. So the media can change.
Mm.
So many people come to me and tell me that I don't have habit of reading books. So I invited my entire time over to my Pune house. We had bought a new house. So and then I gifted everybody one book. And many of them said that, okay, I don't read much. So I told them it's not about reading the book, it's about consuming information. And most of the business books, you don't have to read it cover to cover.
Mm.
If the business book is well written, if you're reading Leaders Eat Last or Hard Things About Hard Things or
Mhm.
Start With Why, Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office, Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. So these kind of books, you start with any chapter or even any page, it will give you the essence in that page.
Mm.
So for anybody who does not have the habit of reading or you can't open a book, don't worry. It's about consuming information. Consume information anywhere. If you're reading business books, then you don't have to read it cover to cover. Just open the index, any page, any chapter you like, start from there.
Mm. And there should be some reason why, especially great leaders always recommend you different books
Yeah.
because there's
I
some
mean,
story which
yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
learn out of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Mm.
And you'll learn even if you don't remember it, you'll learn something, and it will
Correct.
come out sometime in your life.
Somewhere.
Somewhere in your life, it would come out.
Uh, so in terms of taking care of yourself and
Yes.
even your, let's say, mental health, as you also travel, must be
Yeah.
sometimes,
Extensively.
yeah, I would say, toil on how you take care of things. So, any thoughts there?
So for this, I'll give credit to few folks who love me dearly. That's how you self-validate.
Yeah.
So, but they got me into this habit of walking.
Mm.
So we were having a debate, and I don't exercise much, or at least uh, don't get time. That's the excuse. I
Yeah.
should, but okay. So they got me into the habit of walking, and Murakami has.
Do you track?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
I'll flaunt a little.
Yeah.
So Murakami has written this beautiful book called "What I Talk About." What I mean by running when I talk about running. So maybe the title, is a little bit, but it's a book about running.
Mm.
I bought that book. I have to yet to read it. But when I walk, I get to time with myself.
Yeah.
And actually, these people who got me into this habit of daily walks, they told me that, okay, you will think less, because I tend to think a lot. That's partly because of the habit and job also. But I get time with myself, so I think very deeply. But yeah, I walk like 5 to 6 kilometers each day.
Wow.
It's a relatively recent habit I've picked
Mm.
up. but I think I want to continue with that because that gives me time with myself, and I'm not doing anything else. I can't do anything else. I'm just thinking about business problems, people, and anything else.
Amazing. Uh, Great. I think pretty much at the end now.
Yeah.
One last thing for our audience,
Yes.
and there's something more of a takeaway for them, especially people who also are building their careers in this domain. Uh, what do you have a message for them, as well as they keep growing across becoming a leader? Also, everyone has that kind of vision to do something better over the years.
Yes.
So, how do they achieve what probably you have achieved today?
Yes. Yeah, I'm still on the path,
Yeah.
but yeah. So Steve Jobs, most of the people they don't understand what Steve Jobs meant when he said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." So he said, "Stay hungry." My rendition of it, or my interpretation of it, is that you stay hungry for knowledge, stay hungry to change the world, and be foolish enough to believe that you can change the world.
Mm,
So that's what, and there could be 10 other interpretations. So I believe it's very important. First of all, anybody who tells you that, uh, and since you mentioned younger, so I'm keeping around
yeah.
that. But anybody who tells you that you can't do this or you're not serious enough to do this, don't care too much. Don't care too much about people's negative opinion about you, because that doesn't help.
Mm,
Okay, if somebody is giving you constructive criticism, it's good, but people's negative opinion, like, is demeaning,
yeah.
so don't care too much. uh, uh, what you need to do is invest in knowledge, invest in learning a lot,
Mm,
and that learning can be in any form. Don't limit, or don't think that, okay, just reading a book or taking that course on Udemy or Coursera is important. No, learning in any form. You're
mm,
walking through the streets, watch all the hoardings and see how different brands are positioning themselves. How is one billboard different than the other billboard, wherein on one billboard there are 5 words and on one billboard there are
easy.
50 words, and understand the concept of negative space in graphic design. So that's how I learned the concept of negative space in graphic design, or white space. So learn in any way, any form, any fashion, but learning is important. And don't take yourself too seriously at the start. At least when you're starting out, try to enjoy.
Mm,
As you get old, you will have to take yourself too seriously, but at the start, don't take yourself too seriously, because then you start being too careful, too watchful. When you start out, you should make some mistakes.
Really thankful for joining us today and sharing your valuable journey. Looking forward to doing more of this together. Thank you. I hope you
Thank you,
enjoyed.
Sunil, for having me here. It was a great experience. Loved it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the podcast till the end. If you like the session or if you have any feedback, be it critical, positive, do drop a comment in the comment section for us. It really helps us to improve the quality, and we know that what is the content you would really love. Also, do share the content with any of your loved ones. They could, scale up their career, do wonders with a very small insight too. So looking forward to it, and stay tuned for our next session. Thank you.